Good morning and welcome to Ralph's house. Well, today it's back on with the electrics. I'm downstairs in what will eventually become the kitchen. I've started to make holes for sockets and they've got to go around there. So this will all be kitchen units eventually along this wall. But in the ceiling, all I've got is that, which is all right. You know, I'll probably find another place for that in the house. But what I actually want in here is 6 ceiling spots. And the idea is I want 1, 2, 3 along here, and another 1, 2, 3 along here. And I've got 6 of those. Yeah. So what we've got to do is we've got to go upstairs in the upstairs bedroom, which I'm still currently wiring up there. But at the same time, because I'll have put the boards back down, any lighting on this floor has of course got to be done at the same time, and any switches drop down. And there are some old French doors here at the back, which will eventually, I shall cut that wall, make that whole thing that bit bigger, put a patio door in there. And so of course, thinking logically, I would come in probably by this way, so I will need a light switch either that side or that side. Haven't decided which yet. But that also means, of course, I've got to drop a cable down for that, coiled up, ready for when I come to do the outstairs lighting. So really it's a case of going upstairs and working out which boards I've got to take up. So this is the room immediately above that kitchen. As I say, I'm still running these sockets in around here. But I've got to use my little hole cutter saw when I find it. Well, it's like a small circular saw. It's a hand one, and it's a plunge saw. Nice little tool, bought it a few years ago, and it's going to be ideal for this because when you lift boards, all these, well, most of them are tongue and groove, so you can't just lift them up because they're held by the board each side. So you've got to cut down each side of the board and then lever it up. But as I want 6, I've got to find the best position for those lights. And I think it's going to be 6 boards in each side. It'll be the 6th board that I lift. And then what I'll do is once I've done that, and because the joists will run this way, I'll have to then drill a small pilot hole through the ceiling so it shows beneath. And I'll run the cable, so leave enough slack coiled up so I can join on the spotlight from beneath when I cut up with my hole cutter. And I've got 3 of those this side, 3 that side. So I'm just going to plot that, and then I'll cut down this board and we'll lift that one out. Right, this is my plunge saw. I think I bought this about probably 4 or 5 years ago now. Lidl, I think, probably. Yeah, Parkside. It'll be Lidl. But I mean, look at the size of that little blade. And you can set the depth, which I've already done. I've taken a floorboard out and held it against that, so it just goes through a floorboard's depth. And I haven't got any live cables under here at the moment, obviously, but I have got plumbing pipes. I don't think there's any running this way, but even so, because I've set the depth, I don't really have too much worry about it. But what I've got to do is I've got to cut down this board all the way, both sides, so I can lever this out. So we'll give it a go. Yeah, that's cut all the way along. Just a case of levering it out now, I think. Yeah, so I'll go and get some prizing bars. Yeah, that's almost up. that out, all I've got to do is run this cable in now. But a thought on spotlights, and something my other half, bless her, raised about the positioning of spotlights, and this is perfectly true, because if you don't place the spotlights in the right place, now let's imagine this was the kitchen downstairs, so I've got work units, you know, all across here. If your spotlights aren't placed correctly, what you're going to end up with is shadows on your worktop. So the general rule is 3 foot from the wall. Well, minimum you want 3 foot from the wall, and that's exactly what I've done here. So hence, you know, calculate that. It's about 6 boards. It's handy that that one's up, but unfortunately I need to take that one up, unless I'm very lucky. But I think that's got to come out. So unfortunately, yeah, I've got to cut this one, so I think I'll have to run a cut there, and I've got, yeah, I'm going to have to run a cut there because I've got one there, but I'll have to cut across there, and then just down this one side of the board, because already one side of it's obviously free. But that's it on the spotlight, so I'm going to lift that one up as well, and then I can run these cables in. Those are done. The boiler spur, which at the moment is loosely coiled up around here, I shall pull that through. I can use the same hole for that, it makes sense. Come right up to here, and then straight out the door, down the landing and into the fuse box, and I can get that one done, so I'll crack on. Now, I'll tell you what, there's a lovely smell of freshly burnt cut wood from drilling these holes in these joists. Right up at the corner, if you remember, I had to put in a boiler spur there, and I chased all that in. That's a few weeks back. Anyway, the cable now runs down here, underneath these pipes, through here, Coiled them that way because I want to give myself enough room, you know, if I'm drilling up for the spotlights, the downlights rather, round here, down there, goes across there, comes out there. Then I'm just going to take it under these floorboards, downstairs, down to the fuse box. That'll be nice when I've got the boiler on that, instead of having to run it on an extension lead. Yeah, so I just need to bring the downstairs lighting loom. It seems an odd place to start here, but there you go. So let's think. So really, I need to lift the boards up the other side and run a cable through, but I'm just wondering, rather than trying to get through this wall, which is fraught with difficulties and not ideal, I'll just literally come around this corner of the landing and pick up these spotlights here. Yeah, and I shall need a junction box for that. So, because I don't want anything hidden, wherever I drill the first spotlight, that's where the junction box can sit, up in the ceiling. So if anybody ever has to get to it, they can pop the ceiling spot out. There's the junction box. Make it nice and easy. Yep, that's my thinking. It's all part of this 18th edition of the electrical regulations, and making sure that everything is accessible. And you know, the last thing you want is a junction box under here and all your floorboards are nailed down, your carpet or whatever's on top, all your furniture is in here. Not ideal. So any junction box, and I will need one for these spotlights, I shall put there where I put the first spotlight, so at least you can get your hand up and pull it down. Yep, makes sense. So if I'm going to come out on the landing, I don't want to cut any more boards than I have to. That one's been cut, but that's the bathroom. That's not a lot of use other than to take the lighting loom that way downstairs. But I initially need to go into here. But fortunately, there's a board cut there and up to... where is it? Can't even see it. Oh yeah, there. The joint there, that's screwed down, so I can whip that one up. That should enable me to pull the cable around here and start coming in here with it, and then leave enough slack on it to join up with the light in the centre. And a few boards have been up here, so that makes that easy. Yeah, right, so that's what we'll do, get that get that board up on the landing. Oh, it's just starting to rain. Whoopie-doo, it's going to go dark again. Look at this, the treasure of the Sierra Madre. You know why? Look at this lot under the floorboards. Spaghetti. Look at that. Single core insulated stuff. 1960s, guessing. 50s? Don't know, take a guess at it. But I'll give him his due. He's left us little reminders. Look, this is written by my dad, no doubt about that. All sockets, this floor. Well, I've no doubt it worked, but we just don't do things like that now. No junction boxes. Junction boxes under floorboards are an absolute no-no. You just need to run from the fuse box to the first socket, wherever it might be. Let's say it's there, out of that socket, into the next socket, into the next socket, and either come back to the fuse box or just finish at one socket and make it a radial. It's more common to have radial circuits in bedrooms now. In the old days, it was all ring circuits or ring mains. So you come out of the fuse box, run all the sockets, and then back to the fuse box again. But we don't have those kind of loads. And I think I mentioned in an earlier video, before the days of central heating, which we all got accustomed to and love, often the only way to heat up a bedroom was an electric fire. And of course, you know, they're drawing 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt. You might have another one in this room. That's quite a load on a wiring circuit. So hence they tended to put ring circuits, because it shares the load. It'll take a greater strain. But these days, what's the most we plug in bedrooms? A couple of phones, a couple of iPads, maybe a TV. That's the most. So now we tend to go for radial circuits, and that's what I should be doing up here, keeping it very, very simple. But this. Anyway, that was one label, but look, there's more. Wait for this. You know what that is? No, it's not telephone. Well, actually, it might be telephone, but I think a lot of what the cables he's got running in here are main point GF. What's GF? And there's another label. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Too small bedroom. Oh, well, these will be his speaker circuits. So he's got his telephone and his speaker circuits all running in here. Well, I hate to tell you, Dad, but when you connect up a phone line, you don't actually need all of those wires. You only need a couple of them. Ah, well. Yeah. So, when I thought I was going to connect in these ceiling spots, it looks like I'm just going to spend the afternoon, depends what the light's like later on, but I'm going to chop this lot out, because it's... yeah. No, I just started... I've got that junction box off, but wait till you see this. I mean, how old is that? That's not, I mean, why not? I mean, God knows if it was actually connected to anything. Who knows? I mean, it could well have been. That was from when the house was built. It was made of a kind of vulcanised rubber, with a lifespan, incidentally, of 25 years. So if you ever see this stuff under your floors, and they stopped making it more than 25 years ago, so if you see it, get rid of it, get it replaced. Hopefully not, your wiring isn't on that stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to spend the rest of this afternoon cutting this all out. Shock horror for the day. But that's it from Ralph's house, at least for today. And then we'll come back tomorrow and start putting in those downlights with a bit of luck. But can't do anything until I get rid of that lot. Anyway, thanks for watching. Do like below or leave a comment. Thank you. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.